morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Bird Not Bought YouTube channel. Today marks the start of the 2023 Champ Car season. Let's get out there and let's get to work. So if you think what we've done up until now is redneck, this is going to take the cake. So it is a cloudy, gloomy, 24-degree, still snowing mid-March day. So what better day to get started on the Champ Car and freeze to death than today? So this thing is sitting just as we left it from Mid-Ohio last year, and what I have noticed, this is something that really bothers me. With all the other stuff I have going on right now, it's really tough to summarize this. It's hard to get the footage in the first place because we are the entire crew. So we almost need like a dedicated cameraman. So I'm gonna try to work on that and, you know, bribe somebody into doing that for hot dogs and I don't know, not money because I don't have any of that. But this thing's sitting just as we left it, and I didn't do a good job of getting the video out there to explain to you guys what's going on. So I have noticed this channel's got almost 1,000 people that have made the conscious decision to care about what I have to say and what the team has to say. So I got to do a better job. So I'm going to work on that this year, really try to get that under control, because the story that this car has to tell and the story that happens around it that this camera can capture at the track is it's pretty good, honestly. I mean, we're not a great team, but we go out there and we race, and I want people to understand that doing this is a lot closer within reach than you think it is. And the story needs to tell that. So that's what I'm going to work on this year. But what we're getting into today is the disaster that occurred last year. So when we were at Mid-Ohio last year, the engine got tired over the first race. There's 2 races. It was 2 10-hour races. It just got tired. Head gasket was kind of giving up on us, and it was starting to kind of overheat towards the end. We had to baby it a little bit, but it did great, and it had a lot of hours on it, so it's not like it blew up in that race. I think that engine had like, it was pretty high for a stock D series with a turbo run at full throttle all the time. So I think it had like 48 race hours on it. It did a good job. So we took it out because we had a freshly rebuilt engine, that one, that you guys saw me build on the channel last year. When I put it in the car, we fired it up, and at 2 a.m., mind you, after we raced all day. So we're exhausted. We got it in the car, we fired it up, and it started puking oil by the quart out of all 4 exhaust ports. And we didn't know why. It was 2 in the morning. We were exhausted, so we went to bed, and we thought, you know what, we'll fix this after the race starts tomorrow. We'll try to get out there and run some laps after the fact. We're out of the running at this point, so let's just take it easy. So we go, shower, go to sleep, get some rest, come back, fire it up the next day, can't figure out what's wrong. We're still exhausted, and at this point, we're like 3 hours into the race, and we're like, you know what, Champ Car will probably refund us for this race if we just don't go out. So turns out they did. As many gripes as I had with Champ Car at Mid-Ohio last year, they're a really good organization to race for. So we packed the car up and came home, and it finally dawned on me. I brought it up to the guys. We run 20 W50 VR1 racing oil in this thing, and if you look up the word slick in the dictionary, it's a picture of a quart of 2050 Valvoline racing oil. This stuff is insanely slick. Oh, that's what we put in this engine when we fired it up. And I finally thought, do we just need to rinse down the cylinder walls with some gas or something to wash all the oil off of it, and then put 530 break-in oil in it? Because this engine, this thing is stock. There is no special stuff in there except for an aftermarket head gasket and head studs. Everything else in there, bearings, rods, pistons, wrist pins, the head, the cam, I mean, stock. It's stock. So, and we probably could have gotten away with stock head bolts, but we used the head studs because they're reusable. Anyway, point is, we put super slick racing oil in it, and I think if we drain this thing right now, wash the cylinder walls down a little bit, and put in some 5W30 and fire this thing up as if it's a stock engine, it may seat those rings, which would really suck because we didn't get to race last year, and we didn't get to do the second race last year. But I think this engine's healthy, because the pistons are new, the wrist pins are new, the rings are new, and the bearings are new. But the head gasket's new. So it should be, it should run. It should run fine. Why doesn't it run fine? Why? So anyway, we're gonna try that. The whole point of this spiel, we're gonna put oil in this car. You can kind of see down in there how just covered in oil it is, and the engine's pretty clean, to be honest, but the whole front of it is just covered in oil. I mean, it filled the turbine housing with oil and was filling the exhaust. So if we fire this thing up today, it is gonna smoke like a freaking freight train until we get the exhaust super hot. So anyway, Dan's on his way out with the oil. So I'm gonna get this thing jacked up and start draining it. And then when he gets here, we'll try to wash cylinder walls down a little bit and fire it up. We got the spark plugs out, put some brake clean in the cylinders, unplug the distributor so we have no spark because there's flammable vapors. Unplug the distributors now. And then I unplug the injectors. I did it so that it wouldn't prime fuel in there. Having fuel in there might actually help wash the cylinder walls down, but I usually just unplug the injectors. There's plenty of brake clean in each of those cylinders. So let's spin it over and see if we can't work that brake clean around in there a little bit to break some of this oil up. Hook up the battery. Had enough wherewithal to unplug that. Okay. Let her sit for a second, let it all trickle down the walls. Clear! Clear! Wow. That's when I was spinning it over right there, that bog or the engine got loaded down a little bit. That was the oil pump going from 0 to 85 pounds of oil pressure like that. So oil pressure is not a concern. Keeping the oil where it belongs, that's the key. Dan is on his way out here right now with the floor jack. This thing just sits too low. I can't get underneath it with the oil drain pan, and I can't get to the, well, I can get to the bolt, but I can't get to the bolt with the pan underneath it where I need it to be to catch the oil that will come out when I take the bolt out. So Dan's coming with the floor jack. We'll jack the car up, get the oil drained out of it, get the thinner stuff with the break-in additive in it. And hopefully it stops puking oil out the exhaust. That'd be cool. That would be great, because the last thing I want to do right now is pull this sucker out of here. That thing is you'd think a race car it'd be easier. It's not. What I'm trying to tell you is I hope this works. All right, I'll quit fooling around for just a second and get serious with you. Right now with this car, we have much bigger and better things to be doing to this thing besides pulling this for something that shouldn't need done twice. So point is, we're all busy guys. We've all got stuff going on outside of here. A couple of us have other businesses. We're all busy. James has kids. It's just, this doesn't need to be sucking up the valuable time we have to put into the rest of this thing. We're trying to make progress with this car, and taking a huge step back like that would hurt. So we need this to work. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. We'll get it taken care of, but it's a time suck that is pulling away from getting this transmission figured out. We finally have a limited slip diff in the car. It was far as we know, working. We never really drove on it, so we got to shake that down. We got other stuff inside the car we need to take care of. I forget what all of that stuff is because I kind of tuned this out. Captain's log. So we went to put the exhaust manifold back on it and realized there was no gasket in it. I know we would have saved that gasket because it was new. However, we can't find it. So I am running into O'Reilly's to get a new gasket and we're gonna get some just straight SAE 30 oil to break this thing in. So hopefully this works. Here we go. Captain's log entry revision. We had a gasket, but it turns out it's one of the like compressed tinfoil turd gaskets that fails immediately. We only need it long enough to pass this test, so we're going to use that one for now. We'll get a nice one if we need to later. But we got 5 quarts of SAE 30 oil, and we're going to hope this works. All right, here we go. Yep. It was like 95 at the race. I gotta say, it seems like it's not quite as bad as it was at the race at this point. It's also not very hot. Oh boy. Yeah, it's not great. There's a lot of oil still left in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be hard to tell what's the engine and what's not.
I did use off the
Did you? We got our smoke inspection reports in the manifold.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Fortunately. Not a lot coming out of the repair can filter there. Do you remember in the race, was the catch can filter billowing? Because it's not now.
I didn't think that it was.
Gotta warm up and see what happens. Oh man, this kind of sucks. That is thick. Strange because it is running so well. The other problem is we have so much oil in the exhaust, it's hard to tell what is and what isn't coming out of the motor. So.
Starting to dump all oil out again.
was pretty.
Don't hear it sizzling yet, but
It was pretty thick out the pipe out there.
yeah. I mean, you can see where it's dripping right down. Yeah. On the face of the block. Dripping out over here onto the. Dripping out onto the floor. I don't hear it sizzling like what it was.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, it's still.
This is going to be a weird process, right? Because there's just so much oil
Everywhere.
in there. It really sucks because it sounds really, really good.
Yep.
The fact that when you rev it, it actively blows more smoke.
That, I mean, it's coming right out. I mean, yeah, we got a crack right here in the manifold.
And it's blowing out of
We
there.
can watch it blow right out of there. The question is it getting better? Are the rings starting to seal? You know.
Yeah.
We know the exhaust is full of oil, right? So it's going to continue to smoke out the exhaust.
I agree.
Quite a while.
Let me see what it looks like outside. Yeah, it's.
Come here.
Jesus.
So as soon as I wipe it, it's literally it's
Yeah,
just
I
coming
see it.
right back out.
I see a stream right
Yeah.
there. All right. That's about all we needed to know. Oh, there it is. I hear it sizzling now. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's just full.
It's just.
All right, Rio, we need our engine stand back.
Our stand's right here.
Or we need our engine hoist
We need
back.
our engine hoist back.
We do have a jack handle if you want to go that route again.
Yeah.
No.
Not with two of us.
No. 6 maybe.
Yep. We know we can do it with four.
We know we can do it with 4.
Yep.
Well, that sucks. A lot.
Yeah.
Brand new pistons, brand new rings. Interested to see what we find in here.
As I look up and I look around, I'm like, you're 3 feet from me, but I can just barely see.
You, Oh, shit.
That's what I was looking for, one model. Okay. Yep, so you're 65 Milan's today. Okay.
So what Dan's thinking is, we're gonna let it cool down, but it is, surprisingly, if you can believe it, it is better. We're gonna let it cool down. We're gonna come back out tomorrow, wipe it up, give it one more try. If that's not it, which, like I said, I'm kind of running out of hope. I think we're gonna end up rebuilding this thing or that one and end up swapping these, but I'm willing to give it one more try because this thing is a pain to swap, so we're gonna give this one more shot tomorrow.